Congresswoman, how are you? Welcome to the program. And my producer tells me you might have a special guest on the program.
I did. I had a special guest, but it was Poop 30, so he's out of the picture now.
So you had Joe Biden in your office?
No. Even better, my son.
Oh, listen, there's such similarities. Really, they're both teething.
Is.
Yeah, they both eat applesauce. They both have diapers.
Both babble. You can't really understand what they're saying. You know. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll both lose to Donald Trump in a debate. I'm sorry.
I mean, Henry. I will say this: President Trump. I think that he likes Henry, so I'd say that Henry'd probably win that one.
Okay. My producers are searching. I don't know if there's a photo of them on the internet together. Has your son met President Trump?
Not yet. So
Okay.
Actually, when I was pregnant, we were with him on Trump Force One. But when he was born, Trump called, and we have a letter from him. And hopefully, I think in the next probably 36 hours, he might meet him.
All right. You heading to New York?
I'm forbade to secrecy on this.
Okay, all right. Hey, wonderful. Okay, we're excited about it. Okay, so this is the topic that I wished to talk with you about because when you're in these hearing rooms, you're somebody who we're always like ready to clip, okay? And it's like, okay, all right, she's ready to go. It doesn't whether you're wearing an AR-15 pin or whether you're talking to Hunter Biden, you're on the oversight committee, you know about debate. And you're fearless. And so I wanted to talk the Trump debate news with you. This seems to us as a position of weakness for Joe Biden. This isn't a position of strength. He's like, come on, pal, let's go behind the woodshed. This is a position of weakness. They never wanted to debate, as far as we can tell. Like, they're doing this out of desperation. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So from a political perspective, you never really want to go to debates unless you are trying to make up for something. So to me, this says that they know that their internal polling is probably really low and that Trump's winning. But you know what's interesting, Benny, is that with everything that they're trying to do right now, like I was just talking to my comms director and we were looking at the actual response video that Biden had. And he's like, no, you can actually tell that this has been clipped multiple times, which means that they probably had to take multiple takes for a 14-second video. Anyone who works in media or in politics knows that that should be a pretty easy response. I mean, you can pretty much do it from your cell phone, you know? So the fact that he can't even make it through that, I would say that, you know, really what the administration or what Trump needs to do is he needs to ask for like a 3-hour long form debate because we know that at that point in time, they won't be able to have the smoke and mirrors and protect Biden.
Yeah, that's right. Or the bags of cocaine and mirrors, which actually go together. I wasn't planning on that, but okay, all right, great. So you're right. I mean, you can see it here in the video. We'll play it with no audio because there's less cuts in a Scorsese film than this. They're like, we do a lot of video editing. Like they're going to town on this.
Yeah.
What's happening here? You're a member of Congress. Is Biden not being able to even deliver these lines that are written for him?
I don't think that he is. You know, a lot of people, I actually had been able to talk to a couple of members who were on the floor during the State of the Union, and they said, you know, Biden is physically there, but he's not there. And so I think that that's kind of what we're seeing. But, you know, it's dangerous because this is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be, you know, our representation on the world stage. And so you see this happening. But frankly, I think Trump has always performed his best in debates. Trump knows that. And so, you know, even though it's with CNN and no audience, I think that Trump knows how to leverage that in his perspective. So I will be tuning in.
You'll be tuning in. Do you think, I mean, I know you're very, very close to the president. You'll probably get an invitation to go to the debate. I mean, there's got to be some audience, right? No?
I think that they are going to probably push for absolutely no audience, but it doesn't mean we won't have watch parties, and so I will definitely be at a watch party.
Okay, fantastic. We look forward to the invitation. So, what would be your advice to the president? I don't think he needs it, but Joe Biden started off that video saying, "I beat Donald Trump in 2 debates."
I think that as long as Trump talks on the economy and what's happened with his failure, you know, the number one issue right now, and I don't know if you've been looking, but the actual Biden-Harris administration right now is working so hard to try to get the Hispanic voting bloc. So, Benny, I think we've talked about this before, but, you know, you have this back and forth with the Biden-Harris administration either trying to pander to Black or Hispanic Americans. And I think that they're losing both actually right now at a massively alarming rate, which is why you're seeing them try to debate. But what I will say, Benny, is that I think if even Trump talks on issues of what's happening with immigration and border security, I mean, that's a #1 issue right now for all voters, to include independents. And I think that's why you're seeing that swing in voting blocks that haven't really supported Republicans since the 1950s. And you're seeing that with massive support with the Black and Hispanic voting bloc. So, I mean, Trump, everything's on his side, right? Like, we can talk about foreign policy. Let's talk about what's happening with Israel right now in the Middle East. We can talk about what's happening with the economy, with immigration. I think that the odds are in his favor. And so I'm actually really excited for this. But I'm more excited, Benny, to report that it seems to be general consensus now here in Washington that members of Congress, to include Republicans, understand that Trump's going to be the next president of the United States. And so even just from 2 years ago, it's a massive change in, I think, the psyche and perspective. And so it's really good to hear.
Can you please pull back out on that, please? Like give us the larger perspective, because we are starting to get that vibe. It's and what we've been covering on occasion is how they are starting to put bumper car rails on a future Trump presidency, and they wouldn't be doing that if there wasn't going to be a future Trump presidency, because it takes a lot of work. Yeah, and so we're like, wait a second, Trump's going to win. They know he's going to win.
Yeah, they know he's going to win. And to put it in perspective, Benny, and to really, for everyone tuning in, so previously, like even when I first got elected, I think there were a lot of people that were afraid to, say like, hey, I support Trump. Like, this is wrong what's happening, because there is such like just negative attacks on anyone that was a Trump supporter here in Washington, to include the staff, from people that were basically weaponizing DOJ, all of that. That was by the Democrats. And so now, I mean, as you know, I was one of the first original supporters of President Trump's reelection. And you are actually seeing now not just Republicans, but Democrats, and then staff, lobbyists, all of this. People understand that Trump's going to be winning. And so I'm not just saying that to say that. I actually see the change in perspective here in Washington, and they are getting everything ready for when Trump gets reelected. And so I'm excited about it, because frankly, we can't as a country withstand another 4 years of this craziness. But also too, Benny, I will say that, I have pretty good sourcing here in Washington, and I am hearing that Biden is so concerned about the border that he actually had private talks saying, well, maybe I should use executive action. And I think it was his advisors, AKA the Obama holdovers, that were telling him not to do that on border. So they know it's an issue of their own creation, but we're here to fix it. And we look forward to President Trump getting reelected this cycle.
News that broke at time of show was there's a massive fundraiser that's being hosted in Silicon Valley, of all places, that's going to net a ton of money for President Trump, hosted by our friend David Sachs. I'm like, if Trump wasn't going to win, this wouldn't be happening. Trump's going to win.
And also, too, Silicon Valley, as you know, is like typically very far leftist. So the fact that these people are like either moving to Florida or saying, no, we're going to raise money here in California for the president, I think that just goes to show the state of what's happening with world affairs. And then also, you're seeing a massive turnover of some of these mega donors that were giving to Biden, but are like, look, we can't support what's happening right now with, the gross failures of what Biden's been doing with the Middle East and also China. And so it's good to kind of see everyone come to their senses on these issues.
So really quickly here, because obviously you'd be somebody to speak very authoritatively to this topic, there have been rumblings about Trump's vice president, and atop those lists is often Marco Rubio, and Marco Rubio is somebody who obviously speaks Spanish and would potentially be sort of a play for the Latino vote that you just talked about. Telemundo is one of the networks that Joe Biden wants to debate on, right? And I guess I wonder your thoughts about that, given that he's a senator from the state of Florida. We sort of put the pieces together. We're like, wait a second, so Trump's meeting with DeSantis? DeSantis would be the one who'd appoint the next senator if Marco Rubio was to bow out and run as VP. It seemed to make sense to us. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I think that you are probably spot on, Benny. You tend to have a good finger on the pulse. But what I will say is that, I'm also seeing that Burgum's kind of up there. So I have my opinion, and I've heard on pretty good sourcing the top 3. I think that you've kind of nailed it with all 3 of them. But, again, the largest voting minority in the country right now is Hispanic Americans. And so I think that Trump, even if he weren't to have a Hispanic VP, he would still get the vote based on his policies and what he's shown to actually be a huge asset to our community. But I do think that Rubio might be up there as a top contender. And so, as you know, state of Florida is pretty much leading the country, in my humble opinion, with elected officials. So we have some great talent.
Marco wins the Latino vote here in this wonderful state. And I don't know Marco Rubio. Don't have a cell phone number. Not paid to say this. Haven't communicated with anybody on his team. I'm just saying that if he's near the top of the list, that seems to make sense. And locking in, just like thought process here. If he goes on Telemundo and debates Kamala Harris, border czar.
Oh, there's no debate on that. I mean, like, Kamala, let me just say, Benny, you know that I ran into Kamala at the airport. Like, she's terrible.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think we have that clip ready. We'll have that next time that you're on the program.
Clip. Yeah,
we'll have that next time you're on. Yeah, that's right. You did run into Kamala, whatever they decide to call her today. She can't even get her own name right. So the final thoughts on Donald Trump's esprit de corps. You're very close to the president. I know you speak with the president. I know you meet with the president. Through the election, we're less than 6 months away. Strategy. Give us a overall perspective.
Well, I think that he's doing everything that he needs to do. You know that these legal cases are nothing but just propaganda, and it's basically being done in an effort to try to hurt him. But I think President Trump has been able to really use that megaphone and share his messaging. He's doing great in New York. I think like New York City might be in play, honestly, for this upcoming election cycle. So I think that as long as he continues to do what he's doing, he has a great team, Susie Wiles, James Blair, great, giving him some great guidance and advice. They are absolutely, from the internal polling that we are hearing, some of those top 5 swing states are in play, and he's already pulling ahead of them. So I think that as long as he stays the course, he's going to win big. And I would argue that it's probably going to rival Reagan's blowout. But I will say, I don't know if we'll ever win California, but I do think that it's going to be pretty historic. So I'm excited.
That is Spartan energy. We know that you're raising a little Spartan here. We've been able to source this photograph. We have the helmet behind you there, but we also have 2 little champions in that. I think there's a photo of Donald Trump there behind you. So we have 2 champions in the photograph. I know that he couldn't join us. I know he couldn't join us for this interview. But Godspeed, Congresswoman. It's so beautiful to see people who are people who are parents and not childless. Like that, making policies.
Well, thank you.
Like parent
From perspective.
Yeah, and like you don't have a country, right? If people don't protect their families, and we sure hope to be. We know you're right around the corner, so we hope to work with you on helping support more parents.
Thank you, Benny.
There should be more inspiration for like people to start families and start family units. Like we really truly believe that, and it's inspirational to see.
Hey, congrats on 2 million followers, by the way. Good job.
All right. Yeah, that's right. Rock and roll, baby. Thank you, Congresswoman. Godspeed.
Later, Benny.